detaching yourself from everything allows you to gain everything. And if you're content with nothing, then anything becomes valuable and a source of happiness. The law of detachment is something that I've seen before, but I never really realized how personally close to me it was, as I feel like it's been a big part of my life and how I see things, how I see life. And detaching yourself doesn't mean not caring or being passive or not taking action. Detachment in this context means that who you are isn't defined by external factors. You don't let what's outside of your control to define who you are and define your value. And you just allow everything that's outside of you to just be. And I think that's how you can ultimately be at peace. Because when you're detached from everything, then you can't really be brought down by anything, because for something to have the power of affecting you to that extent, it means that you're in some way controlled by that thing, or that certain thing is above you, and it means that you determine yourself by that thing. So as I was saying, if you're detached from everything, then you learn to derive happiness, or I should say fulfillment, because happiness is really volatile. But when you're detached from everything, you learn to derive fulfillment from every opportunity you have. It could be from a simple meal to having to face a challenge, or it could be simply getting to see a friend, or just pushing your body in a workout to get better. And it's really with this attitude and this mindset that I learned to enjoy all aspects of life, the highs just as much as the lows. I feel like a lot of times our mistake is getting too involved in a result or an event or a situation where we actually can't do anything about it. Or we set a certain expectation of how things should be, how they should look like, and we cling to the expectation, and we get a fear of what if it doesn't come true. But simply you cannot control what you cannot control. You cannot decide what someone else thinks. You cannot control what decision someone ultimately makes. Of course, you can have influence, you can have impact, you can contribute to a result, but that's really the only thing that you should be worrying about. But whatever happens, it is ultimately out of your control. You can control your performance during a competition, but you can't control what score the judge is going to give you. So why obsess over that result if it's in the hands of someone else, when you can focus on just doing the best you can? If you know in your heart you're giving 120%, you're doing things the right way, you're treating people with kindness, then you will be content and at peace no matter what the result is. You don't even need to know the result, because that's really ultimately what's used to compare yourself to others. But the only competition you should care about is with yourself. And I know that's a little cliche, that's a popular saying, but it is true. And I'm not even saying to not project yourself towards certain goals or not having ambition, because I have big goals, I have big dreams, I have big aspirations for my life. And you should too, because we only get this one opportunity at it. But a lot of times we become so outcome oriented that it messes with our own identity, that we determine our value by those outcomes. So I think we should all strive for greatness, but who you are cannot be bounded by those results. And there's this quote, expectation is the mother of delusion, gratitude is the mother of joy. And I think that's a great way to put it. It doesn't mean giving up, it doesn't mean that you lose control, but it actually means that you gain peace. It also doesn't mean that you shouldn't have expectations, because as I said, I do have such high expectations for myself. Yet I think you can have expectations and be grateful at the same time. So have such high expectations that you pour yourself into your craft, you dedicate yourself and give everything to make it come true. But learn to accept where the outcome is. Become obsessed with the process, not the result, because the process is really the only thing that you can control. Do all that you can in your power, and then allow life to unfold in front of you, and then appreciate everything that comes at you, good and bad. One of the reasons I'm recording this video is also so I can reflect and remind myself about this, because recently I feel like I've been caught in my head a little bit. I forgot to be grateful, and I actually feel the best or the most fulfilled whenever I'm in a state of gratitude and appreciation. And so recently I've just been preoccupied by negative things, bad energy, and I kind of did go against what I always try to remind myself to do, which is, just slowing down, taking a breath, and becoming aware first, being grateful and appreciating what I already have. Sometimes we get so caught up in things that are so far from us, worrying about stuff that's so distant, both physically but also in time. And we worry about that stuff so much that we forget to live our life first, which is the present. So I've been really preoccupied with things that are out of my control. For example, things that are in the hands of someone else, or things in the past which I cannot change. And it's really when I started writing down ideas for this video that I realized that I was doing that. I realized that I was going against what I was writing. And that also goes to show how important it is to talk or write about what you're thinking, what you're going through, what's in your mind, what your problems are, or whatever, because a lot of times you do get to the answer, the root of the problem, just by discussing it or writing about it or talking about it. Things move into place only if you allow them to move first. If you're so attached to something that you can't even allow it to change, then nothing will change. You have to be able to allow things to happen. You have to detach from them so they can fall into place. As humans, we want to control everything, we want to feel in control. We feel like we can decide how things go, we get to decide how things go, but that's not how the world works. That's not how God operates. So really my point is that detaching yourself, allowing everything else to be, will free you up and put you in a position where you can exist and be present in the moment. Will allow you to be capable of standing on your own feet without the need of other people, without the need of any crutches or supports to hold you up. You don't need any results to validate you. And that doesn't mean to reject people you love, or reject support, or reject chasing dreams. But it means to be able to feel whole by yourself, and that actually allows you to have even better relationship with others, to love even more the people in your circle, and feel even more fulfilled by life. So yeah, that's just some thoughts I had. Yeah, just do the best you can, control what you can control, give 100% the gym, learn as much as possible, see and experience as much as possible, be kind to others, and then everything else, the stuff that's out of your control, is in the control of God. Leave it in His hands and trust Him, because you will be given everything that you deserve. Everything that's supposed to be yours will be yours. So just have faith. That's really what I wanted to talk about today. Hopefully it's some food for thought. Hopefully you can think about it a little bit. This is also a reminder for myself. Just by talking about it, I am reminding myself to do these things and be kind of in this mindset, this mind frame. So yeah, let me know what you think. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if you have any thoughts. If you agree, disagree, whatever it is, let me know in the comments. Message me, DM me. And yeah. As always, appreciate you guys for supporting me. I'm always grateful. It means the world to me. So thank you very much, and then I'll see you next time.